Welcome, everyone. I'm Glenda Dawson. I have Sarah Garcia, Moongirl, and we are the Paranormal Dolls. We have a very wonderful, very knowledgeable, very well versed um, guest with us, Robbie Thomas, and he's going to tell us today all about him. Welcome, Robbie.
Thank you
Welcome.
for having me. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Glenda. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So, tell us about yourself here.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Don't be shy. Don't
First
be
of
shy.
all, yeah. All right. Um, I'm a husband. I do dishes sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Not
That's
all the
good.
time. I don't do the laundry, but I carry it up for her sometimes. Um, I cut the grass today, and I try to be as best as I can. She'll tell you different. And then I got all daughters. I live in a house of estrogen. So you can imagine what my life is like. So please, anybody out there, have pity on me. I mean, send checks to Robbie Thomas. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Cash App.
yeah. Oh, but other than that, I'm just a guy, and I've been around the paranormal since 1978, documented. I've been doing murder, missing persons cases since, oh my gosh, 33 years now, working with law enforcement on the front lines, in the office, on death scenes, via family, all different agencies from FBI, CIA to OPP here in Canada to sheriff's departments. I'm an author of 10 books. I'm a producer and an executive producer. I've written many different chapters of shows and three movies actually. I'm currently in an award-winning television series right now called Halloween Obsessed with the beautiful, talented Linda Palmer from LA. She moved now from LA to her beautiful new home in on the coast. I won't tell you where she is because she'll get mad. But there's people like Michael Gross, who's been in Tremors, Family Ties.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, listening LA Law. And then there's Dee Wallace, who's been in Cujo, Critters, E.T. Um, we all know her. She's beautiful. She's in this series. There's many other great, beautiful people in this series. I've been casted for a television series out of Japan just recently, and also my own television series, which is a true crime series where I chase the bastards who are murderers and who hurt children and family alike.
Mhm.
And it's been ongoing. I created the series in 2006. It sits with the Writers Guild in LA. There's nothing like it, but they put on shows on TV like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, Dead Files and stuff like that. Oh, here's a tidbit real quick. I know I'm just blurting away here. We almost, the team of producers and directors, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, yeah, 3 weeks ago, um, almost got to the very top and back down again. Because what they do is they say you present your show, it goes through the board, everybody gives it a yay and nay, and it goes to the top board and they go yay and nay, and then they come back down and go, yeah, we want this show. Well, we went back and forth and everything was done. And then they decided to say, oh, well, we're going to bring back the Dead Files because we already have a show that's already been in progress. It was canceled, but we're going to bring it back. And then I heard that they got rid of Amy Allen, but then decided to go ahead, but it's nowhere to be found now. So my show was almost like on the dotted line again. Before COVID, 1 week before COVID, Dog the Bounty Hunter's producers, for the longest time, were talking to me. And it's really funny because the producers for Dog and Beth and the producers for Dog the Bounty Hunter, two different entities, were vying for my show, me and my law enforcement team from America. I'm the only Canuck, indigenous Canuck. And Crazy Canuck, whatever you want to call it. And we got to COVID time, and I decided to sign on the dotted line, and I did, and they did, and everything was ready to go. We had all the cases ready to go 1 week prior to this COVID outbreak, and when it hit, it shut down the border, as we all know. And then, therefore, everybody who was on my social media going, when's the show coming out? And because we vied for this thing for a long time. And then we sat because of 2 years, and I bet you everybody got to name their couch like I named my couch. You know, we're on best friends basis, and here we are, you know what I mean? So we started it up again. Now we're talking to different entities again, networks, like I said, and they decided to take back the other show, but I don't know if it's coming or not, but we're still vying because we're going with A&E, history, everything else, and they're all like, yeah, so we're still in the mix.
Right.
The difference between those shows, I'm going to be very frank with you, and I've sat in office in New York with the president of A&E and the vice president, Elaine Fontaine. I've sat with them, and what they say is, you can't, and I'm not that type of guy, but you can't name people on TV. It's a legality. I said, well, that's what I do. If you want the real deal and the real substance of going after murder people, I give the name, I give where the body is, where the weapon is, or details, and I have to do that for the law enforcement to go ahead and further their case along to finalize it. They wanted scripted, and we all know what scripted is like, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Via ghost shows. Every ghost show is scripted. It's not real. I've been there, done that. I've been in Dead Whisper, 2005 movie. I mean, we shot it for a week, and I think in a week we got maybe 2 or 3, maybe EVPs. I don't know. And then there was the Sallie House movie in 2007, and we shot there for a whole week. And again, you know, same scenario. But you see these people who go on ghost adventurers or ghost hunters, and they pop in a building and, oh my gosh, everybody's having breakfast and there's ghosts here. It doesn't happen like that. It's not like that whatsoever. I mean, even people who go out to these empty buildings and go, I got a Class A EVP, and they put it up and it's all static. I had the head inventor of IBM who invented the ordnance that they used in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and today still different. And he showed me the patents. He's a very smart, intelligent man. And he showed me all the equipment that ghost hunters use. And we sat down, and he debunked quite a bit, like the EMF meter, the gauze meter. I mean, all kinds of different things. The way the world is wired, and that's a great term to use, wired, is because the frequencies that bounce off everything in the world is a conduit. And so you're picking up different signals from everything. So you're not getting a Class A EVP, you're getting mixed signals from whatever it is that's breaking in. But people will tell you different, and you know, but you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty and be truthful to yourself. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. But again, back to the shows. Can't do scripted. I can't. I'm doing a disservice to Glenda or Sarah. If I was doing something for your family,
Right.
would you want me to fake or lie and say something that's totally like left field just to make a show so that your family can feel good about it?
I've been in that position. Yeah, I felt the same way.
Right. So I know, and you know what? I'm a happy lucky go kind of guy, because I've worked with the CIA, the FBI, the sheriff departments, many law enforcement between all your America and in Canada, England, Australia. I put guys in prison in Australia. I know we don't have the link to it, but this book here, I decided not only the skeptics from James Randi were out to dash me, and I said, okay, fine, that's great. I got the biggest guys after me. It's a compliment. So what I did was I went to every law enforcement officer I could think that I worked with, and I chose out of hundreds of cases to put in over 20 cases in the book. Now, I got their reports. Wasn't easy, but it took, oh my goodness, years. Reports, letters from family, photographs, behind the scenes text messages, emails, things that aren't privy to the public, and showed how professionally it is properly done while working with law enforcement. You see me on scene, you see the headlines in the newspapers, they're in here. And they talk about everything, they show you everything step by step. And I walk everybody through every case and how we got them, how we found the murder weapon, how it was justified, how everything was done right. I don't think there's a book out there like this. I did a lot of research. Now, the only reason I brought that out was to set aside the skeptics. Number one, which it did. They stopped. And that's great. And if they come back at me again, I'll just throw that in their face. I don't, it doesn't bother me. And I got the families who are behind me. I mean, every case I do, it's almost like they adopt me because I bring my family to their family. And they have that social loveness, I guess. And we become like family together.
Right.
And as we get into these cases tonight, you're going to see this. I'm going to express everything and show you how it's done. The biggest part of this whole thing is that, yes, there are people, very far few in between, maybe 2, 3, that in the United States, Canada, and the worldwide, that they actually call, right? I had one law enforcement detective say to me, "You're on a Rolodex." And he called me. I've done like 3 cases with him. He's also going to be on my show. So, I mean, these are very detailed, intricate cases. You just can't go to some family and show up, or as we, prior to the show, explain to each other that on my social media, have someone show up and go, "Can you help me in this murder case?" Well, right away, I know when you ask me, can I help you out? What you're wanting is me to give you information, and I ain't going to do that because you got no idea what you're doing, number one. Number two, when somebody shows up and says, "Oh, I'll do that for you," well, then what you're doing is you're just putting yourself in a predicament where you're just setting up the family for a fall, because you shouldn't do that. Number three is that you can be held liable. You can be held responsible for anything you do against that case. People don't know this. They think they're all psychic fucking detectives out there. And it makes me mad because I've done this for 33 years. And the reason why it makes me mad is because it's just not a game. I mean, we talked about guns being drawn and threatened and everything. It happens. It truly happens. There's a reason why America's Most Wanted got a hold of me to go do a case in Butcher's Holler for Loretta Lynn, distant relative of Loretta Lynn, right? Country star. Right. And Loretta Lynn was a great friend of mine. I got photographs. I often post them on my social media where I'm sitting with her brother Herman in her house, and the signatures are all on the wall in the coal miner's daughter's home. And it's country stars and movie stars, and then all of a sudden, the Webb family, their name's Webb, and the Webb family's all there, and they go, "Put your name on the wall." And I said, "I'm just Rob from Canada. I'm not a star or anything, right?" And they go, "No, Loretta wants you to put Loretta one," and she made me put my name on it. So I go on and put my name on the wall in her bedroom and it's there, right? So everybody's gonna go, Glenn Campbell, Dolly Parton, Robbie Thomas. Who's that guy? Right. Anyways, so as Sarah said, she come across this and she understands what I'm talking about. I know, Glenda, you do too. It's very difficult to watch people on social media say that there's something when they're actually nothing. You don't leave your house to do anything. Please stop posting shit where you think you're doing something, because you're not. I think there's going to have to be a big clamor, a big get together of people to understand that you're not a fucking movie star. You're just on social media. You're just something like that. And I get tired because, you know what? I'm at an age where I retired. Before I retired twice, right? I got the phone call by Citizens Pictures. And they said to me, don't. They do Guy Fieri, got a diners, whatever, right? Right.
The blonde hair.
Yeah, I love that guy's show. That guy's awesome. He makes some pretty good freaking food. Anyways, so I'm talking to the executive head up, and they said, no, don't retire. I want you to come back. We talked for, oh my goodness, maybe 2 months. I had to lay out specific A to B, everything case wise with her. Beautiful lady, and she's very smart. Then I brought in the team. She interviewed all the team, from my partner prior to my other partner, who is chief of Texas. She was from Texas. Martha Decker, chief of police, right? My partner prior to that was International Police Chief Kevin Smith, and he passed away. We filmed with America's Most Wanted and Butcher's Holler, as I was talking about that, on a 20-year-old case that we solved, I think, within, oh my gosh, 20 minutes. I kid you not. It's really in depth. But he was smart enough, knowing knowledgeably what to do, and we garnered all the suspects and what happened in this case. But bring it fast forward again to the show. So Martha Decker, chief of police, and I've done cases with Martha. Detective Andy DeLay out of Florida, and I've done, oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3 cases with him. Sergeant Cliff Christ, I've done cases with him. Colorado, oh my gosh, and we're going to bring in Kevin Thompson from Alabama. He is a interrogator. He's in a very big position of lieutenant in the prison systems. So I got these professional people who know what they're doing and all want to work with me. There's a difference between that and a social media psychic who thinks that they're doing something out there, and when they're not. You can hate me for what I'm saying. All hate mail go to robbiethomas.net, please. Send me. I will answer all your mail and set you straight. I mean, you're not doing the right thing. You're hurting families. The reason why I'm saying this too is I get the family letters afterwards. Can you clean up this mess? And then I know who you are on social media because they tell me who you are. And it's crazy. I feel like one day I'm going to just unload all the names, and then people, oh my God, you know what I mean? And they'll disappear from social media quicker than you think, right?
That should be the next book.
Oh, yeah. It's something else. I mean, cases. Okay, in my book, I put families first and where the criminal belongs. That's, you know what I mean? He belongs in jail, family first. People quote that out of there all the time. And you have to have the gonads to know what you're doing. You have to have the gumption to be able to sit in front and looking at a mom in the eye when she says, "Is my baby alive?" You know what I mean? And then if you're going to be this phony psychic on social media, there's a coffee shop in every corner in every city, right? And as many as coffee shops show up, there's that many psychics out there. It's amazing. It's just fucking amazing. It's like they read the Cheerio box and they're all fucking ready to go. And it's just, I can't believe it. I'm done with it. So I sit and I don't care how people badmouth me or what they want to do. The proof's in the pudding. If you can put out 20 cases in a book and have law enforcement back you up, I'll eat my words. I'll eat my words. You know what? They can't, because I've called them out in shows too. And they can't. They just can't. I can pick hundreds of cases, and I've filmed with many different people. I'm not trying to say that I got my fucking head this big. It's not. It's the maddening part is that I get mom calling me and so distressed and distraught, and you've expunged them of large amounts of money.
Yes.
You should go to jail. Those who do that should go to jail. And I'm almost at the point where I told my wife, I said, I want to get to the part where I can work with DAs. And I've got a lot of DAs who want to work with me. And I'll go after these people. And I'll put them in jail. I will help, flush them out. Put them in jail. You know how fast it'll clean up the paranormal? Have anybody in the paranormal. Absolutely. I mean, now you say that, I did a case in Australia. The guy had a big radio show there called Ghost Radio Australia. I think that's what it's called. So I'm working with him. I'm getting a bad vibe. I've done the show a few times. And then all of a sudden the police say, can you set him up? So I'm on Skype and I'm setting him up and I'm talking to him and I go, oh my gosh. And I'm talking to them and they're talking to the mom because the stepdaughter came forward and he was a sexual abuser. So we set him up, put him in jail. He got 10 years, but he served 7 years in Ikea jail. And he got this website called American Down Under Save Me, whatever it was, right? But he served 7 years there. And then I called up my partner here, U.S. Marshal in the States. They red flagged him, found out he took the woman's name over in Australia, last name, so he would hide, wouldn't use his name. So then they red flagged him over here. And then when he showed up back home, where do you think he went? Yeah. Paranormal, right? There's a lot of deadbeats in the paranormal. People are going to hate me for saying all this shit. But you know what? It's good. My career is almost done, so whatever.
So tell us.
I'm the best mom ever.
There you go. So tell us about a case that really it resonated with you or really hit home more than any other case that you can think of.
I'm sure they were all memorable.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Children cases, it really hit. Okay, we'll start out with this one first. 2007, the day before Canada Day, July, which is coming up, the anniversary is coming up. I get a call from Louisville, Kentucky. Can you help us find this young boy, 4 years old, gone missing? And I said, no, and I never say no. And I said, no, it's Canada Day. I got people in the backyard and I ain't having it, blah, 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 blah. And I hang up. And as soon as I turned around, guess who's behind me? My wife. Right? And she's like, what? Are you stupid? Call him back, right? So she made me call him back. So I called down there. She entertained the company and I spent hours in my office looking at a photograph on my screen because they sent me the file.
Right.
And from that file, and people can follow this case on RobbieThomas.net. It's all there. My drawings are there. Every piece of evidence that Spirit gave me until we arrested the guy is all there. So I'm going through the motions of where are you? And you see stadium lights. So I draw circles off and I put off. And then where's this? And John. So I put John. And if you stood on the murderer's front porch and you looked through the clearing across the street, Papa John's Stadium was right there. Wow. So this is all coming, right? And I'm okay. It's not making sense to me because I'm in Canada. I'm just continually writing stuff down. So I'm writing it all down. Then I say dogs, cadaver dogs, and I'm writing that down. Repeat offender of 2 boys. I put that down. Sure enough, the guy's in jail now, but the guy who did it, the suspect, was a repeat offender of 2 young boys sexually. So there was a break in the connection. And I was using guides. And all of a sudden it was like, I'm pissed off. I'm swearing. I'm literally, elate with anger, just throwing stuff around because there's nothing now. And all of a sudden it comes right back in. It's like a movie, okay? People ask me how it is. It's like a movie. And all of a sudden the movie's back on again. And I'm going, oh my gosh, here we are. And I can see the front yard of the guy, the construction that was going on. And sure enough, there was construction going on in front of his house, in his house only, across from Papa John's Stadium. They were doing a sewer fix up or whatever. And then I said, fucking give me his name. I blurted that out like that. And I knew the boy was talking to me then, and he gave me his name, Cecil. And it's not a Bob, John, Mary, Joe, or Peter, Paul, Mary. It was fucking Cecil. And I write down Cecil, and I draw an arrow to what the boy was showing me what he looked like in the mugshot. And I'm drawing as fast as I can. I'm writing all this down, and I put the arrow down to the monster's head.
Right.
And sure enough, if you went there and look at the mugshot of him and the drawing of the little boy through a 4-year-old little boy's eyes, you'll see it's almost identical. And that whole story's in the book. That's one whole case in there from start to bottom. And when you look at it, Cecil Eugene New, that's his name, was the one who murdered the 4-year-old boy. He held him down in the bathtub and drowned him. And then when I put down truck, like white garbage, well, in Kentucky they had white garbage trucks, and they found his body in the garbage the next day, and he took off, but they got him December 7th of 2007, and he'll never see the light of day ever again. And I remember the news clip on TV. I often play it sometimes too, because I save all the newscasting and stuff. They say, and the Louisville police got a big break in the case from a guy in Canada. A guy in Canada. So that's all I am. I know. That's seriously, that's all I am. And that's what did it. Because all my evidence went to NBC, CBS, and the detective all at the same time. So they were all looking at this, trying to find this little boy, and then they ended up arresting Cecil New. That case touches me because, getting back to your question, when it involves a child, nothing more burns my ass than to look at some grown man or woman who think they got the audacity to feel they're inferior over somebody who's inferior. And I don't like that. So I go through the ends to try to find them and put them away. And I like to go and say, you know what? I'm the guy who helped put you there. What you going to do about it? You know what I mean? I'm no little guy, by the way. I work out every day. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, you know what I mean? I have to throw comedy and routine into this stuff because it's very heartbreaking to me all these years. Yeah.
Definitely. It's to me, children are very special, and that is definitely number one subject.
Yes.
No matter what, even in my classes, I teach Reiki to kids.
Right.
And I start getting them already prepared to be able to handle, hopefully with using Reiki on themselves, handle high school and the energies of middle school and so on. So
right.
But
another case. Another case. A little girl named Victoria Stafford. Her anniversary was in April, just passed. I remember all the anniversaries. I wake up all the fucking night, and I do, and I remember all of them. So she went missing, and they were looking for a woman, a grainy video of a woman leading her out of school. So I met with the family and Detective Brown, and I sat in office, maybe a few days, like it was periodically. And they got all my faxing to them. I said, you're not looking for a woman, you're looking for two, an older man and a younger woman. And she wanted to buy his love by getting a young girl for him, sick shit. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So they decided to come up with a plan because mom is estranged from dad. Dad had custody of his daughter, Victoria, but mom was a little bit left field, kind of, right? And so, Rob, we're going to plant you in the mother's house. A lot of people don't know this too. I get planted. They use me for different things. So my name was John, friend of the family. So I show up and I'm watching mom for about 45 minutes, and her dink ass freaking boyfriend over there, and he's doing nothing but crossed arms and his head down. And I'm getting a read for this person, and I'm looking around the whole room. There's like, if there was an inch on the countertop or the fridge, it had an alcohol bottle everywhere. And then when I look down the hallway, I see two maybe 12, 13-year-old kids come out with beer bottles in their hands. They see me and we're standing here talking to them, and they run back in. Mom sits back down on the chair. She's got no expression. And she says, and I know she watches any of these clips too, because she knows we're on to her. So she watches, sits down, and she goes, they took my name off the charity account. And I'm looking around the kitchen and go, no wonder you're drinking the fucking money down. You're not doing anything to help your daughter. You never left the house once, but your ex-husband pounding the pavement every day, morning till night, posters everywhere. You haven't left. And then she leaves the house once because they wanted to put her on a TV show. So she had to hop the back fence of her house, hop another fence to get over to the limousine that was waiting for her a street or two over so they could take her out, right? Strange shit. Yeah, this shit goes on in the world. So I'm sitting there and I'm getting a good read on her, and then she says, they took my computer. They took my coat. Well, the girl in the grainy video had the same type of coat you had. So they're trying to piece it all together. And, you know, it's amazing because I was there when Rodney did his lie detector test, right? And he failed it. And the detectives are saying, you can hear him screaming in the room across. They're going, don't leave town. And, you know, the way that law enforcement works that way, right? But then Detective Brown goes, no, stop. He's saying this. And then they got onto it. And we brought the press media in. And I said, how can you put like, because I'm in filming, and I know we can highlight the person on film only. So they decided, yeah, we could put a bubble around. So they did, and it highlighted her. So we almost got what she looked like, McClintock. We almost got what she looked like. So it was really cool. You know, we're getting there. After I'm going to take you fast forward now. After we arrest her, and she leads the police on a helicopter chase looking for the body of Victoria. In my drawings, I said, Mennonite, horse and buggy, pile of rocks and rubble by a tree line. And I see her go missing 2 days before she went missing. And everybody can go to my website and click on the radio show 99.9, the Fox FM, the program director. I had to bring this out so that the public can see that it's real, for number one, right? Because when I see shit, it's not fake, it's real. So he pulled me on his show and he said, you showed me this stuff before they started investigating the case, and it all came true. He goes, I was a skeptic, but I'm a believer now. That's exactly pretty much his words, what he said on the clip. So back to the thing, the case, and, you know, the pile of rocks, the rubble, the tree line, and I seen her, and I told my wife, I go, there's another young girl going missing, and it's going to happen real soon. And so she says to me all the time, draw, write. So I do. I draw on her, write, and I have my notes. So I give them out. We get down, talk to Detective Brown, what have you, and then the arrest happened. I was there for the balloon release. I've often put pictures of me and the dad, you know, at the balloon release when they got convicted. And I don't know if it's so much of a victorious moment, using Victoria's name, a victorious moment, but it's something, I guess, right? We got them, right? So that happened. Then I get on this guy's show, and he blurted all over the internet, I was a liar, blah, 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 blah. He's a big show on here, right? Prior to that, in this book, I downplayed this guy hugely because his producer went missing. And there's a guy on TV that we all know from A&E who said he was dead in a hotel room in Florida. And I said, no, he's alive. He'll call you in 3 days. And he's in Oklahoma. And sure enough, he called. It's all in here. The story's all in. And the letter from that radio guy said, I'm an angel. And it's also on my website. So people can go there and take a look at it. And he goes, from the X Zone radio show. The guy's a big bloat. He's an idiot. He's an idiot because if for one moment he would realize, I'm not going to go on his show after I was down there with the police and give information about Victoria Stafford on his show, he should have realized this shit, and he never did. So he's decided to play it up like, oh, Rob's lying. He's not what he's doing. No, I got told before I left there, don't say a word. If anybody asks, make it up. So I did. I told him, oh, yeah, she's alive. And no, she wasn't. We knew she wasn't. It's just that you're not going to get the scoop of the century there, Bob. And, you know, and I look at that. And in the meantime, he writes that a couple of years prior to, where I found his producer, where they had all law enforcement looking for him dead in a hotel room. And he wasn't dead. He was alive. And thank God he was alive. And he passed him up for a promotion. And that's all there on the website. You can read it all black and white. So when you look at that, and, you know, again, I'm not saying this shit because I've got a big head, because I really don't care. I care about the people. I don't care about the storyline, and I want people to know the truth. So I put that in there, and Victoria, and then he writes all this up, and then it comes out. Then the family decides to write a letter, and they put him in his place, saying, I wish more people would listen to Robbie Thomas, because blah, 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 all the information. And it's on my website. You can look it up. It's all there. It's amazing because you have to play, I want to say devil's advocate or double agent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you got people on shows who right away want, I want you on here. You're on the case. Or I want you on here. I want you to tell me everything. I can't tell you. I'm in the case. And I'm not going to tell you everything so you can have fucking ratings. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't care what people. You're getting it raw tonight, girls.
And plus that, you know, could mess up the case too.
Absolutely.
You
because
know,
if I asked you, Glenda, tell me, and you tell me something over the airwaves, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It could mess up the case.
Absolutely.
They could throw that away as evidence, the judges. I mean,
Yep.
I was a paralegal for 35 years, so I know how that happens. You have to be very careful with what you do and you say. So
yeah, absolutely.
And when you say it.
Yep, absolutely. I have one of the people who worked for him who was an RCMP officer who was a producer on his show. She quit. She followed the whole thing. She goes, I remember you being on there and saying all that. I said, yeah. And she still follows me on my social media. And, I'd kick his ass if he knew. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, who the hell do you think you are? You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to ask about cases that are already closed and all that, but when there's an ongoing case that you still need to go to court and actually present the evidence, that's not good karma there.
No. You're not the paparazzi. You're not, you know, you got a radio show, you know, the X Zone radio show. That's what it was called. And I don't care what he says now or whatever. You know, he can blah, 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 all he wants, right? It's like the crickets chirp, right? But as soon as you show up in front of them, oh my gosh, they're quiet, right? Yeah, and I'm sure he wouldn't want me showing up in front of him. That's for sure. You know, I've had many law enforcement say, why don't you teach this?
Right.
Teach this to branches, right? And I thought, okay, I honestly tried. And I tried to bring the best out of people to try to even like focus a narrow path so that they can broaden their own scope and try to evaluate themselves and self-taught, right? Mm-hmm. No one taught me but spirit, right? And that's how I learned. So in hindsight, I figured I ain't got time for this because I'm too occupied with helping you. Everything else is involved. People don't like to hear the raw. I don't understand why they don't, because if you want the pretty and pink and the phony shit that you want, keep watching the ghost shows on TV and you keep thinking that shit's real and it's not. I'm not downplaying them all, but come on, let's get with it. When you're sitting there and you're looking at a body, I'm looking at autopsy photos I'm in there with looking at all the notes. People don't get this stuff, and I get the question suspects, and I have. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then people get online and they go and they want to play this. I don't know what you want to call it, whatever, guru, and they're not. And I wish they would stop doing that shit because they're putting people in harm's way. They're putting families out. They're putting. Here's the thing, and I'm telling you straight up here, all you psychics tuning into the show, have the family draw up a contract. That way, if you ever get a chance to work with family, because I don't know if you are, or whoever, third party. On my website, it says, I don't attend to third party people asking me to help out murder cases. It has to be law enforcement only, or from the family back via law enforcement. Only way. It's legit. Legally, I am protected. Well, draw up a contract that if you screw up and you're so full of shit, that they get the chance to prosecute you. Watch how many people don't do anything. You know what I mean? Seriously, let's get down to it.
Yeah, it's responsibility. You got to take responsibility for those families that are suffering, and you're just going to use them at that moment. Not that everybody does it. I'm not saying everybody does it. But it seems like there's a plethora of people who see an opportunity to gain some money, and and we could all be wrong. We are human. There could be times where things just don't pan out the way they should, but they need to take responsibility.
True. And mind you, yeah, I do have a fee and I charge for what I do, but I'm not saying, what's your ratio rate for being right and not? You know what? I go on a case that either reopen it or we get the people. I mean, you can ask any of the law enforcement. They're still calling. The reason why I do this is because that doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. The phone rings, the emails. It's a 24/7 thing. So yeah, I can't jump in a plane and run to Glenda or the next day to Sarah, and pay for my flight, my hotel, my meals, and then my fee. Because if I'm going to do a job here, pay for my mortgage, you're paying me. And then there, I go through the case, and we get the people. And there's always a conclusion to everything, and it's worth every dime. And these people go out there and they charge. I don't know what they do. I really don't. But I mean, I've heard horror stories. But I'm saying, draw a contract up like I do with family and law enforcement, and then you can be held accountable. And then that way you're going to jail, whatever. Yeah. Simple.
You're held responsible.
You got these people called Psychic Unite, right? I know a lot of them that are in there. And it's funny because I know Scotty Rourke, right? I love the guy. I love him, and I've met him, and he knows me and everything. And they get on these cases and everything, right? You never seen these people doing them. I've been doing it for 33 years. All of a sudden, I'm going to conventions in the early 2000s, and they're and it's like a new gig for them. Instead of doing ghosts, they're going to try to do this. And you see paranormal people go, well, we're not going to do ghosts anymore. We're going to go and shoot like I forget the brothers. They're called something Foreman brothers or something. And then they go and shoot freaking murder cases. They're not solving them. They're exploiting the families. And that's a wrong. They should be held accountable. I said my piece. I mean, to me, Glenda, Sarah, honestly, ladies, you know what I mean? You were right in the beginning, but I mean, yeah.
So I'm going to change gears really quick. You also dabble in the film industry. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. 2005. Well, actually 2004, because it had to be set up until we went and filmed it. I was on the Natalie Holloway murder case. Changing gears, but everything comes off a murder case. Unbelievable. Sorry. Yeah. So the Natalie Holloway in Aruba. It was being set up by the BBC CEO, myself, award-winning film producer Ronald Busby, a guy who's on Ancient Aliens now, or has been on for a while, Christopher O'Brien, and I'm trying to remember them all. And then the authorities over there, and we're getting ready to go over and search. And I said, the father's behind it. And I drew my drawings of the shoes, the boat, on the sand, everything. And prior to that happening, somebody in our circle leaked out some information to one of their psychic friends who showed up in Aruba and distorted everything. So the authorities said, don't come here. We're overpopulated with people searching the island. Our economy is like going down because of the fact that they're looking for Natalie, and it's all cameras everywhere. So they said, hold back for a while. So we did. And then we went back to shoot Dead Whisper, which was called Ghost and Legends in Chicago. So we're off and we're shooting that for a week. And during the time I was there, the director comes barging in my room and he goes, you sold us out. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, look at Fox News. And he puts it on TV and there's my drawings of the shoes, the boat, everything. So I'm thinking, we got a leak in our circle of all the people that you employed to go for Natalie, right? Anyways, so we ended up shooting Dead Whisper. And that was something else. It was a great movie. Al Capone Speakeasy in Willowbrook. Don Kress, who is the actual fire chief on Chicago Fire, NBC. He owned it. Wild place. It's across from the Willowbrook Ballroom in Willowbrook. And then we went to Manteno State Asylum, where they invented Thorazine for the patients before they tore down all the buildings. And then we went to the Studebaker Mansion. I was the only person allowed in the Studebaker Mansion when we did the filming there, and we spooked the curator. He allowed us in. Fascinating secrets, and I started mentioning them on film, and he goes, how do you know? And it was like, it was underground tunnels. The Studebakers didn't want to associate with public, so they took tunnels to the towns or wherever around underground. Right. And it used to be an orphanage, and it used to be a place of very seedy things. So yeah, after that we got out of there. Nobody could ever go in there and do ghost hunting ever. Right? Oh, great. Thank you very much. But we filmed there. And the movie came out, won some awards. It got dubbed the Cult Classic 2005. I'm happy I was part of it. Great team of people. I got told, you recruit the cast, Rob, if we're going to do this because we're coming off the murder case. And I said, okay. So I talked to many people in America, different people who were involved in the ghost hunting aspect. There wasn't many, but there was a few. And I got a hold of this one guy. He's a scientist. And he worked with the PSYOPs, with the American Army over in Iraq. He was a double agent. So he worked with the Israelis and he worked with the American Army. And he worked with not only the PSYOPs, but brown noise, pink noise, white noise, all the different frequencies. And he tried to explain it to me really in depth, more than most people in the paranormal really know. But again, he's very scientific, right? A graduate of Purdue. I mean, list goes on and on with this guy. So I said, I want you for the film because you'll offset me and what I see, and you can prove me wrong or prove me right, which is the greatest thing ever, because you need that. You need that quantum. You need it. And it worked out great. It was a great movie. And then after that, he starred with me in the Sallie House movie in 2007. Going back to Dead Whisper and the Natalie Holloway case, there's a antidote to that. I'm on a show in Toronto, Canada, daytime live, and it's a live show.
Mhm.
I'm sure they had the clips recorded. They knew I did the Natalie Holloway case, and the host says right there's two of them, a woman and a man. What do you think about Vandersloot now? And right on TV, I just seen it when he said that. I said, he's going to murder again, and it's going to happen really soon. 3 weeks later in May, which he did, he murdered Flores in Peru. And it was amazing because it was just like, he's going to murder again. It's going to happen really soon. And he did. Yeah, so the paranormal for me is like an everyday everything kind of event. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, yeah.
Well, you're also a very accomplished author, and that's not the only book you have. You have,
Right.
what is it, 10 books? Do you want to talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
That's where everybody could find them.
Yep. You can get them on Amazon worldwide. You can go to robbiethomas.net and you click on my author's page. It'll take you there. True crime. I wrote a horror series, and a 3-volume. I only had 2 out at the time. And I get a phone call from Hollywood, and it was the casting director for Stephen King's It. And he says to me, Mark Tillman. Now, everybody Google Mark Tillman. This guy's fascinating. I mean, he invented RoboCop.
I want to the original.
Yeah, the original. Yeah. Right. He invented the original. He was in the casting director for the original It, and he did RoboCop, Knight Rider. Oh my gosh! Just Google his name. You'll see all the stuff he's done. Right? Casting director Mark Tillman. But anyways, he calls me up. He goes, "I'm fascinated with your 1 and 2. You have to write a 3rd one." Well, I wasn't even thinking about writing a 3rd one, so I did. And then his buddy, who became a friend of mine, was the head inventor of IBM. I remember I told you about the ordnance and things.
Right.
And he followed me all around different murder cases throughout the States. He just followed me to see how I was doing it and stuff. But he's a friend of Mark Tillman. And so I'm thinking, wow, so I got that series out. I got Signs from Heaven, To You from Spirit, Paranormal Encounters. Over many years, I got photographs in there from Perryville Battlefield to, oh my gosh, Al Capone Speakeasy. Many stories in there. Then I co-authored 4 other books and wrote plays, movie scripts. Yeah, so I love writing. I've stopped for a while. I got too overwhelmed with murder cases, and you know how it bogs you down when you get in that corner and you're stuck in that corner. I don't think it's writer's block. I just think it's just I got so stuck. But yeah, my books are all on Amazon and robbiethomas.net.
Mm-hmm. I'm so looking forward to hearing from our audience because I know they're going to go check you out.
And they're all going to scream and bitch about me, and it's okay. I don't mind. I can take it. I mean, we're just being so open and real. I mean, You have to be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on or want to start doing down the line?
Yeah. My show, Psychic Profiler, is still in the making. I know a lot of people are going, they've followed me for years. Like I've had people follow me from the 90s. One case in the book, again, referring back really quick, she followed me from the 90s. Her daughter got taken into the sex slave trade, and we got her out. That happened in the early 2000s. I mean, I've had people follow me from the 90s, and they're still like, when's it coming? Because I registered this show with the Writers Guild in 2006. I don't know how to say it. I mean, it has the aforementioned of all the law enforcement, the team. I call them the team because without them, there's no me. Right. I mean, really, when you think about it, because they make the arrest. and they do the job, right? I just open the book a little bit for them and they do what they do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I got casted for a show in Japan. They're shooting it already. I'm hoping for a callback. A very well-known individual who's on TV already. Very poignant lady. Wanted me for the show. This is something else, folks. I mean, I've been casted for Japan before, Australia, different things. Yeah, I mean, I'm open, and I'm getting to the point in my age where I just like to ride my Harley, don't put up with bullshit, and just sit back and drink a beer.
The best way, right? Best mom too.
Best mom. My wife will tell you different.
Oh Lord. So anything else that you want to tell us? We've got about 4 minutes left.
Yeah. Anybody in this field, stay true to yourself. As I say these things, I reflect back to many times over the years I've been in places and people try to phony shit just to make that place famous or just to get 5 minutes of fame on Facebook, or, you know, stay true to yourself. Don't listen to the outside interference. People don't like what they say. You know what? That's okay. It's your moment, not theirs. So, you know what I mean? Like, screw them, right? Be you, be real. For as far as people being psychic and saying, you know, I do this or do that, do this or that, be real, because there's people watching. And believe me, I'm one of them. And I'm not going to out you, but I mean, if you screw up and you do something wrong, and like I said, I got families calling me and saying so-and-so and so-and-so. I mean, nothing's worse than outing somebody and showing the proof, and you know what I mean? It's sad. It's bad both ways, right? It's bad. Right. So have the couth to be real. Exactly. And love yourself that much more to do it that way for families. If you can't do it, don't do it. Stay real.
Very true.
Well said. Well said.
Yes. Staying true to yourself is always the best thing, no matter what.
No matter what. No matter
what anybody says, you feel perfectly okay. And you're like, okay, say what you must.
Exactly.
So we wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here.
Yes.
Thank you, Glenda. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. And we're going
to more stories.
Yes, we definitely have to have you come back.
Yes, I know it's such a harsh. I know it shouldn't have went off that way, but I mean, sometimes it has to be said. And I mean, we can always put, you know, glamour shows on if you want, but I mean, you know.
Sometimes whatever comes out, it comes out from spirit, right?
It comes right from here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And spirit directs us all to do what we need to do. So
absolutely.
All right. Thank you. And have a great day. Thank you, Sarah. Bye, everyone.